So why is everyone suddenly taking this Armand Membou talk seriously? Well, first of all, it's not just some random rumor. This news comes from Adam Schefter, one of the most trusted names in NFL reporting. When Schefter says something, people pay attention. And he's not the only one. Other sources are also saying the same thing. The Raiders might be targeting Missouri's strong offensive tackle, Armand Membou. One of those sources? Tony Pauline. Now, I've mentioned Tony before, and usually you have to be careful with his reports. But this time, what he's saying matches exactly with Schefter's info. According to Tony, even though most mock drafts have the Raiders picking running back Ashton Jeanty at number 6, his sources say the team is seriously thinking about taking Mebo instead. Why? It all connects to one person, John Spytek. He's the new GM of the Raiders. His football philosophy is simple: build a strong team starting with the offensive line. Remember Tristan Wirfs in Tampa Bay? Spytek helped bring him in, and they ended up winning a Super Bowl. That move clearly worked. And now, many scouts think Mebo could be the first offensive lineman picked in this year's draft, even ahead of LSU's Will Campbell. Here's where it gets more interesting. I've been saying for months that Mebo is the best O-lineman in the draft, and now that opinion is spreading. Spytek even said something during his Raiders interview that stood out: big boys win games. That says a lot about what matters to him. He talked about how every team he's worked with, college or NFL, won games because of strong offensive and defensive lines. And when a guy says, "That's who I am to my core," you know he's serious. So let's add it all up. Spytek values offensive linemen. He helped build a Super Bowl team using that strategy. Now he's in charge of the Raiders, so do you really think he's going to pass on a top O lineman like Mebo just to take a running back? I don't know, man. Ashton Jeanty is talented, no doubt about it. But if you don't have a good offensive line to block for him, how is he going to perform? Spytek even mentioned the same Tampa Bay team that won the Super Bowl with Tom Brady. And the way he said it? Results speak for themselves. He wants to build another winning team. Same plan, different city. And don't forget, Spytek and Tom Brady were teammates. You think Brady doesn't believe in winning in the trenches too? This isn't just talk anymore. Mebo at number Aru? Yeah, it's starting to feel real. All right, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm all in on Armand Membou. For weeks, he's been my top pick for the Raiders. And in just a moment, I'll tell you exactly what John Spytek said that should make every Raiders fan pay attention. It has to do with a guy named Tristan Wirfs. And trust me, you'll want to hear this. But first, quick break. Now, about that Tristan Wirfs connection, if I were a general manager and I had once drafted a guy who helped me win a Super Bowl, you can bet I'd try to find another player just like him. And that's what makes Spytek's comments about Wirfs so interesting. Check this out. There are only 4 offensive linemen in NFL Combine history who hit these crazy numbers. Over 315 pounds, jump higher than 30 inches. Run a 40-yard dash under 5 seconds, just 4. And the names? Will Campbell, Armand Membou, Tristan Wirfs, Trent Williams. That's it. That's the whole list. These guys aren't just offensive linemen. They're rare athletes, freaks of nature. So let me ask you, if Spytek had success with a monster like Wirfs in Tampa, why wouldn't he take a shot at the next version of him in Vegas? Some scouts even think Membou might be better than Wirfs. Yeah, better. And when someone like Lance Zierlein from NFL.com is this high on a player, I listen, because Lance knows his stuff. Bottom line, Membou isn't just a good option. He might be the perfect one. When Tristan Wirfs entered the draft, he got a 6.48 grade from NFL.com, basically an A+ on your report card. Now check this out. Armand Membou, he got a 6.49. It might seem like a small difference, but in the draft world, that little bump is huge. It shows scouts think Membou is just a bit more polished and ready to dominate. I get it. Most Raiders fans probably didn't have Membou on their radar, but if you've been watching this show and paying attention to how John Spytek operates, then Schefter's report on Membou shouldn't surprise you. Here's why. The Membou to Raiders rumors just won't go away, and there's a reason for that. Spytek has made it clear He loves building from the trenches. And lately, the Raiders have been talking a lot about their offensive line. I'm not saying they're trying to get us ready for a surprise pick, but if they were, this is exactly how they'd do it. Let's be honest, Raider Nation is passionate and loud. If the front office thought fans might question a pick like Mabo, maybe they'd want to ease us into it. Last week, someone asked Spy Tech about DJ Glaze and the O-line. He praised Glaze as a solid rookie and then dropped this. We've got 9 picks. And y'all know I love offensive line. And it wasn't just the words, it was his tone. To me, that sounded like, hey, don't be shocked if we pick Mebo at number I'll tunge you. So yeah, that could definitely include Armand Membou. But here's the thing. When I first saw Schefter's report, I thought, man, I'd love to see Mebo in silver and black. But then I started thinking, what if this is just a setup? If I wanted to trade back in the draft, here's exactly what I'd do. I'd leak a big name like Mebo, create buzz about offensive tackles going early, and hope another team panics and offers me something good. So here's where I'm at. I'm team trade back, 100%. I think the Raiders could trade down, still grab Mebo, or even someone like Ashton Jeanty, as long as they stay ahead of the Bears at pick number 10. And honestly, that might be the smartest move. All right, if you're on team trade back like I am, hit that like button. Seriously. The more people see this video, the louder the buzz around Armand Membou going to the Raiders at number 6. And that buzz could help the Raiders pull off a trade and get more picks. But here's the real talk. Not everyone makes it this far into the video, but you did. So here's the inside scoop, the real reason I brought all this up. I'll be honest, I'm not even sure if Schefter's report is 100% solid. It could be real. Or it might be one of those pre-draft smoke screens we see every year. And if you've been to an Oakland tailgate, there's always a lot of smoke. So here's my theory. This Mebo buzz might be part of a bigger plan. A smart one. I think someone inside the Raiders organization tipped off Schefter just to stir things up. Then Tony Pauline probably saw it and thought, hey, I can spin this into my own scoop. Classic Pauline move. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Let's talk about the teams picking right after the Raiders. The Jets are sitting at number 1, 7, and they desperately need a right tackle. So if I'm the Raiders and I want to trade down, here's what I'd do. I'd start floating rumors. Hey, we're thinking about taking Mebo. Why? Because now the Jets are sweating. They'll be thinking, wait, are we about to lose our guy? And that's how you get them to pick up the phone. This year's draft, weak quarterback class. Guys like Jackson Dart or Shadir Sanders might not go as high as people thought. That means someone else has to rise, and that someone could be an offensive tackle, the protector, the one who keeps your quarterback standing. And guess who needs that? The Jets, the 49ers, the Dolphins. All of them need help on the O-line. So if teams aren't moving up for a QB, maybe they move up for a guy like Mebo, and suddenly pick number, Ara. That's hot property. And the Raiders could cash in. But here's the twist. And yeah, it kind of hurts to say it. What if the Raiders aren't even thinking about Mebo? What if it's all just smoke? That'd crush me because I've been saying it for months now. I want the Raiders to draft Armand Membou at number. Altinja. But there's one thing I can't shake. This new front office, they care a lot about relationships. And if you've been following this team like I have for the last 7 years, you know that. And when I think about how much they value trust, loyalty, and keeping it in the family, it reminds me of something that might give you a little chill. Remember Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler? Yeah, we'll talk about that next. Here's the thing most people overlook, but it matters big time: relationships. This front office doesn't just look at talent, they look at trust, familiarity. And if you pay attention to what they've done this offseason, you'll see it clear as day. Let's break it down. They traded for Geno Smith, signed Alex Kappa, and didn't just stop there. They gave him an extension. Max Crosby got extended again. Raheem Mostert brought in, and yeah, he already had ties to the coaching staff. You seeing the pattern here? Every single move had one thing in common: connection. So now let's flip that lens onto the draft. Let's talk about Armand Membou. The Raiders didn't meet with him at the Combine, didn't go to his pro day, didn't even bring him in for a top 30 visit. But you know who they did meet with? Will Campbell. He had a top 30 visit. met the staff at the combine, and the Raiders have shown actual interest multiple times. So here's what that tells me. All this Mebo buzz, it might just be a setup, a calculated move to lure a tackle needy team into trading up. And look, I still believe Mebo is the better player. No question in my mind. But if I had to bet money on who the Raiders are more likely to draft, it's probably Will Campbell. Why? Because this front office keeps showing us what they value, and what they value is relationships. So, yeah, if you're reading the tea leaves, this new report about Mebo just a week before the draft, it smells like more smoke. A strategic leak to bait a team like the Jets, Dolphins, or 49ers into making a move. But hey, let me say this loud and clear. If the Raiders actually end up drafting Armand Mebo, and you're not already watching the Raiders report, let us know in comment.